The movie begins with a man named Chris Johnson sitting alone in a diner. He checks his watch, looks at the exact time, and suddenly turns toward the entrance as if expecting someone to walk in. Nothing happens, so he calmly gets up and leaves. Chris lives in Las Vegas, where he earns a living performing in a small magic show under the stage name Frank Cadillac. He steps on stage and starts performing prediction tricks, but the audience isn't very impressed. To prove himself, he invites a young woman from the crowd. Chris predicts the exact second her necklace will fall into her drink, and just as he says it will, it happens. The audience applauds, assuming it's just a clever illusion. Unknown to Chris, however, 2 FBI agents are watching him closely from the audience. Chris has a unique ability. He can see into his own future, but only up to 2 minutes ahead. Since the magic show barely pays the bills, he spends his free time gambling in casinos. However, he only places small bets and wins modest amounts, carefully avoiding jackpots so he doesn't draw attention. Even so, the casino has been monitoring him. On this particular day, the security team, led by Roybal and his partner Davis, keeps a close watch on Chris through the CCTV system, trying to figure out if he's cheating.
Oh, he's not counting, not off the top of a 5-deck shoe.
Isn't it that 2-bit magic act over at the back page? What's his name?
Yeah, it's Frank Cadillac.
Is he pulling tricks on us? Is that legal?
You can't trick the deck.
I'm telling you, that little prick knows what's coming.
If he's running that good a system, why is he not betting more?
That's gonna be my second question.
Look at that, he's looking right at us. It's like he can hear us.
What table was that?
Alarmed, Roybal orders his team to move in and bring Chris in. Chris already sees this coming. He leaves the table and heads to the cashier to cash out his chips. While standing there, he looks 2 minutes into the future and sees a man pull out a gun, rob the cashier, kill 2 people, and escape with the money. As soon as the vision ends, the man approaches. But before he can draw his weapon, Chris lunges at him and disarms him. When casino security arrives with guns raised, they completely misunderstand the situation and assume Chris is the criminal since he's holding the gun.
It's his gun. He was gonna shoot 2 people.
Realizing he can't talk his way out of this, Chris takes off. All casino security is immediately deployed to capture him. Using his ability to see their moves in advance, Chris skillfully evades them, even as Davis feeds his exact location to the guards through the surveillance system. Head at all times. At one point, Chris ducks into a restroom, quickly changes his outfit, and walks back out in disguise. By the time Davis alerts the team, Chris is already heading for the exit. He escapes the building, steals a car, and speeds away. Roybal contacts the Las Vegas police, and a high-speed chase breaks out through the city streets. As Chris approaches a train crossing, he sees a future where he slows down and gets hit by an oncoming train. Acting on this knowledge, he floors the gas pedal and crosses the tracks just seconds before impact. The police are forced to stop, and Chris successfully escapes. Meanwhile, FBI agent Callie Ferris shows the casino footage to her boss.
He rose to the top of our gambling fraud wish list about 2 months ago. Now what he does has nothing to do with luck. It's definable ability. Look at him. He knows exactly what to do to not be caught.
She's been tracking Chris for some time and believes he has a genuine supernatural ability. Her boss dismisses her theory, reminding her that European terrorists have stolen a nuclear weapon from Russia and plan to detonate it somewhere in Los Angeles. Every available agent is needed for that mission. Callie insists that if they can find Chris, his ability could help locate the nuclear device. Reluctantly, her boss agrees and gives her 5 days to prove it. Callie immediately orders her assistant Cavanaugh to bring in Roybal. Cavanaugh arrives at the casino, flashes his badge, and escorts Roybal to the FBI's mobile command center. There, Callie questions him about Chris. Roybal explains they were monitoring Chris for possible cheating. Callie shows him a photo of Chris looking directly into the camera and asks what they were discussing at that exact moment. Roybal admits he was just about to call in Chris's arrest when Chris suddenly looked up. Callie pieces it together.
So he doesn't have to be there to do it. Once you enter his consciousness, he can pick it up.
After thanking Roybal, Callie dismisses him. Outside, Cavanaugh warns Roybal never to speak about Chris's identity.
Chris Johnson never existed.
That's gonna be difficult considering 100 cameras saw him at the casino.
Not to worry. Those tapes have been destroyed.
Hey, she's single?
Back inside, Callie and her team analyze the remaining data and confirm that Chris can see between 1.5 and 2 minutes into the future.
At one point, there was a 2-minute, 16-second delay. He never bet, just got up and walked away.
Maybe 2/16's too long. He can't see that far.
Just then, Cavanaugh returns with news. The police have tracked the location of the stolen car. Meanwhile, Chris drives straight to the home of his old friend Irv while still being hunted. When Irv sees the car, he asks where it came from, and Cris casually admits that he stole it. Irv scolds him for stealing cars and constantly being on the run, telling him that kind of life will only end badly. He also advises Cris to forget about the woman he keeps seeing in his visions, the very reason Cris has been visiting the diner every day to meet her. In his vision, he doesn't know the exact day she will appear in the diner. He only knows she will come there at 8:09 because he saw a clock in his vision, and he doesn't even know which time of day that is. So he comes to the diner twice a day.
Listen, about that girl. When you looked at the clock, did you happen to see a calendar? Because it could be 10 years from now she gets hungry.
Cris explains that this woman is special. With her, he can see beyond the usual 2-minute limit of his visions. To him, that means she could be his true love. Irv urges him not to take risks over something that may never happen. Suddenly, Cris freezes. He tells Irv that a woman is on her way, an undercover cop. Irv immediately tells him to run.
Cop? Well, then you gotta go.
But Cris decides to stay.
Hold on. I want to see how much she knows, what she wants from me.
Moments later, Callie walks in and asks to speak with Cris alone. Callie hints at his ability to see the future, but Cris pretends he has no idea what she's talking about, joking that she must mean his magic act, and even mentioning that he saw her at the show. Callie ignores the act and gets straight to the point. She tells him a nuclear device has been stolen and is being smuggled into the United States to be detonated. She wants him to use his ability to help find it, appealing to his sense of responsibility. Cris refuses. He makes it clear he wants nothing to do with the government, believing they'll only use him and lock him away. Callie then changes tactics, reminding him that they have footage of him holding a gun in the casino and evidence of the stolen car.
That was an accident. He had a gun. He was going to shoot 2 people.
Yeah. How'd you know that? No good deed goes unpunished, does it? I can fix your legal problems, buddy, but you've got to step up. Otherwise, your next magic show is going to be at Folsom State Prison.
It's ironic, but people like you who try to help have been torturing me, in the full sense of the word, since I was 3 years old. What do they call it? Observed play therapy, featuring the marathon 36-hour can you guess the next flashcard game. So please, leave me alone and let me live some semblance of a normal life.
Cris remains firm and refuses again. Suddenly, armed FBI agents storm the room and surround the building. Then time rewinds. It turns out Cris had only seen this outcome in advance.
You're right, I gotta go.
Using that knowledge, he quickly escapes through the back door. Moments later, Callie enters the room to find only Irv playing pool. She realizes she missed Cris by just seconds.
I missed him by seconds, didn't I?
Elsewhere, Roybal is heading to his car in a parking lot when he's approached by a man and a woman claiming to be Gaming Commission employees. They ask what he knows about Cris Johnson.
What can you tell us about Cris Johnson?
Roybal initially stays silent, then claims he doesn't know anyone by that name. The woman shoots him in the knee. As he collapses in pain, the man pulls out a knife and demands answers. The next day, Cris is once again sitting in the same roadside diner, sipping a drink and staring at his watch. This time, at the exact moment he's been waiting for, the woman from his visions finally walks in. Her name is Liz. She passes a stunned Cris and sits at a nearby table. Cris begins running through multiple future scenarios to find the one where he successfully approaches her.
Excuse me, do you have a light?
I don't smoke.
Sorry to bother you. I have a question about the coffee. The bean they use.
Isn't that something you should probably ask your waitress? Please, don't.
None of his attempts work. Liz's ex-boyfriend Kendall shows up and confronts her about avoiding him. He becomes aggressive, grabbing her hand and refusing to let go even when she says he's hurting her. Cris steps in and tells him to back off. Kendall reacts angrily and throws a punch, but Cris effortlessly dodges it. Kendall keeps swinging, yet Cris avoids every blow and even knocks him down without trying, all while calmly talking to Liz. He pins Kendall down, forces him to pay for Liz's breakfast, and performs a quick coin trick. Still, Liz isn't impressed and walks away.
You know what? You two work things out.
That future doesn't work either. Time resets again. This time, Cris lets Kendall punch him, even though he sees it coming. Liz immediately yells at Kendall and tells him to leave. She stays behind to help Cris. As they talk, Cris tells her his car was stolen and that he's trying to get to Flagstaff. Liz reveals she's heading there too, where she teaches at a local school. Feeling sympathetic, she offers him a ride, though she jokes that he doesn't seem like a psycho. Soon, they're on the road together. During the drive, Cris suggests that meeting at the diner and heading in the same direction must be destiny. Liz disagrees, saying she doesn't believe believe in destiny and that life is better when it's unpredictable. Meanwhile, Callie and Cavanaugh track Cris to the diner and question the owners. They learn that Cris has been coming there daily and always leaving at exactly 8:09, except for that day. The owners mention he met a woman and that they overheard the two of them talking about going to Flagstaff. After leaving, Callie orders Cavanaugh to pull traffic camera footage from the area to track Chris's route. Then Cavanaugh drops shocking news. Roybal has been found dead in a parking lot, with his throat cut and his kneecap shattered by a gunshot.
You're telling me this now? We just talked to him about Johnson.
Hey, I just found out.
She quickly realizes the terrorists must be responsible and that they're trying to eliminate Cris before he can interfere with their plan. Cris and Liz arrive at an Indian settlement near the Grand Canyon, where a local tribe lives and where Liz works part-time as a teacher. As they head toward the main village, Cris mentions that he'd like to meet the tribe's shaman. Liz then pulls out a small gift, explaining that it's for one of her students' birthdays. As soon as the children see her, they rush toward her and hug her excitedly. Later, she sits with them, and they teach her words from their native language. One of the kids innocently asks if Cris is her boyfriend, pointing out that he keeps staring at her. Liz looks up and notices Cris watching her with admiration. Cris walks over and performs a magic trick for the birthday boy, delighting the children and impressing Liz as well. After leaving the settlement, Liz asks where he learned to do magic. Cris explains that he performs in Las Vegas under the stage name Frank Cadillac, a name inspired by two things he loves, Frankenstein and Cadillacs. They continue their journey, but heavy rain begins to fall. Liz dozes off and ends up sleeping on Chris's shoulder as he drives. When she wakes up, she apologizes and comments on how hard it's raining. Shortly after, they reach a blocked section of the road, where construction workers explain that flooding has washed the road away.
We'll spin around and go back about 2 miles, take your second left. There'll be a motel there called
Cliffhanger, thanks.
With no way forward, Cris and Liz head to a nearby motel for the night. Meanwhile, at the FBI office, Callie is practicing at the shooting range when Cavanaugh approaches her with new information. After reviewing traffic camera footage, they've gotten a positive identification of Cris. Using the magic cinematic zoom and enhance feature, they notice the car's permit number and request that Liz's car be tracked.
There. Zoom in. That's a permit. Track it and find her.
Isolate vector A6. Rotate. Zoom in. Remove occupant. Frisk. Enhance pants vector D7. Isolate pocket contents. Enhance. 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 Enhance, enhance. Meet me at the strip club tonight. It all goes down. XOXOVB.
Back at the motel, Cris helps Liz settle into a room and lights the fireplace to keep her warm. Liz points out that there's only one bed. Cris reassures her and says he'll sleep in the car instead. Liz gives him a blanket and they say goodnight. Later that night, Liz looks out the window and sees Cris sleeping in the car, which makes her feel guilty. The next morning at a port, the terrorists unload shipping containers. Inside one of them is the stolen nuclear device. They assemble its components and test its activation. The same men who killed Roybal report to their leader.
The head of casino security. What did you learn from him?
For a macho guy, he screams like a girl.
But he was questioned by federal agents looking for Cris Johnson, yes?
You said they haven't found him yet.
Do you believe this shit? We can see things before they happen.
It makes no difference what I believe.
We're wasting our time looking for some magician.
Look, we spent 2 years setting this up, and that man out there is worried all this will be compromised by Johnson. Why are the same authorities that are looking for us so interested in him? Get rid of him. Do it now.
Meanwhile, at FBI headquarters, Cavanaugh informs Callie that they've tracked Cris and Liz to a motel in Flagstaff.
He found an Arizona DOT foreman who remembered the Land Cruiser.
Why would he do that?
Well, the road was flooded. He was about to suggest a place to stay.
But Johnson already knew, right?
Exactly.
Before they can act, Callie is summoned to an emergency briefing. During the meeting, Director Wisdom announces that a nuclear alert of the highest level has just been issued. He scolds his team for the lack of progress, reminding them that the situation is critical and the bomb could detonate at any moment. Callie steps in and demands full resources and a capture team to arrest Cris Johnson, insisting that Cris is the key to finding the bomb before it explodes in Los Angeles. The director agrees, and the FBI mobilizes all available forces. Unbeknownst to the FBI, the terrorists are closely monitoring their movements. They have already placed a spy in an apartment with a clear view of Callie's office after killing the original occupant. Their leader, Smith, orders his men to follow Callie's team, believing it will lead them directly to Cris.
They lead us straight to Johnson.
Back at the motel, Liz steps out of the bathroom wrapped in a towel. Cris can't help but stare. He charms her by quoting the words of an Italian painter to describe her beauty, then finishes by performing a magic trick, turning a piece of paper into a rose. He hands it to her, and the two share a kiss. Callie arrives in Flagstaff by helicopter. Her team briefs her on their surveillance setup and confirms they have a clear view of the motel. She orders them to coordinate with local police to lock down the area. Afterward, she tells her team that a body was recently discovered in an apartment overlooking her office.
Body turned up in an apartment with a line of sight to my office. Slit throat like Roybal.
Somebody's trying to follow us to Johnson.
Back at the motel, Cris and Liz spend some quiet time together. As they lie on the bed, Liz softly admits that maybe she does believe in destiny after all. Outside, Callie and Cavanaugh monitor the motel from a distance using binoculars. They spot Liz stepping outside and decide to intercept her. Callie insists they wait at least 2 minutes so Cris won't see it coming. Once the time passes, they approach Liz, and Callie flashes her badge, ordering her into the car. Inside the vehicle, they show Liz casino surveillance footage of Cris holding a gun. Callie paints him as a dangerous criminal and a sociopath who is only using Liz to stay ahead of the authorities. Liz is shaken and struggles to believe what she's hearing. Cavanaugh then asks her to help them capture Cris. He hands her a bottle of pills and tells her to drop one into Chris's drink. The pill will knock him out, allowing them to arrest him safely, but she must wait 2 minutes after Cris leaves the room before doing it. Under pressure, Liz finally agrees and takes the pill. Nearby, the terrorists quietly observe everything and report back to their leader as events unfold.
Now they're letting her go.
Liz returns to the motel room and greets Cris, acting as if nothing is wrong. She gives him some clothes she bought for him, and he thanks her before kissing her. After the kiss, Cris senses something is off and asks if she's okay. Liz denies it and suggests he take a shower while she prepares breakfast. As Cris showers, Liz keeps checking her watch, waiting for the exact moment to add the pill to his drink. At the same time, Callie stares at her own watch inside the surveillance van, preparing to move in. Not far from the motel, the terrorist leader and his men are positioned nearby, with a sniper locked onto the building. When the 2 minutes pass, Liz drops the pill into Chris's drink. As he comes out of the bathroom, she hands it to him. But just before he takes a sip, Liz breaks down and stops him. She hugs Cris and quietly tells him everything Callie and her assistant said about him. She asks if it's true. Cris doesn't answer right away. Instead, he turns on the TV and cranks up the volume, blocking the FBI from listening in. He calmly asks Liz how long the pill is supposed to take to work. After she answers, Cris switches the glasses and goes outside to drink it. From the surveillance van, Callie watches, confused by his behavior. The sniper also sees him, but can't get a clear shot. Cris comes back inside and tells Liz that everything the FBI said about him is a lie.
The man in that casino would have killed 2 people. It happened. It just hadn't happened yet.
Oh my God, you are delusional.
To prove it, Cris begins predicting every line spoken on TV before it's said, switching channels repeatedly and getting it right every time.
That's right, sir. You're the only person authorized to do so.
That's right, sir. You are the only person authorized to do so.
You can't get lost in the woods if you never go into the woods.
You can't get lost in the woods if you never go into the woods.
Stunned, Liz asks how he's doing it. Cris explains that he was born with the ability to see the future, but only up to 2 minutes ahead, and only when events are directly connected to him. He then reveals something even more shocking. For some reason, when it comes to Liz, he can see much further into the future.
For some reason, I saw you far beyond anything I'd ever seen before, and I don't know why.
What do you mean you saw me? You've been doing that to me? That you know what I'm gonna do and what I'm gonna say? That you've just been setting me up?
No, I haven't.
Cris denies it, explaining that he's been searching for her because he doesn't understand why she's different. When Liz asks why the FBI is chasing him, Cris says they believe his ability could help with national security. He refuses because his visions are limited, but with Liz, those limits disappear, something the FBI doesn't yet know. Cris hands Liz an envelope containing $10,000 and tells her to set her watch 7 minutes ahead. He writes instructions on a piece of paper and tells her to follow them exactly 45 seconds after he leaves. He promises that whether it takes a week or a month, he'll find her again. After kissing her goodbye, Cris walks out. Outside, Callie realizes something isn't right.
Something's wrong.
She rushes out and raises her binoculars, only to see Cris already outside, staring straight in her direction. Without hesitation, Cris jumps down the nearby slope and takes off. Callie immediately orders all agents to pursue and capture him alive. Following Chris's instructions, Liz starts the car, puts it in gear, and drives it down the slope. The car crashes into a water tower, causing it to collapse and sending heavy logs and equipment rolling downhill. As Cris runs through the wooded slope, the terrorist sniper fires, but Cris sees it coming and dodges the bullet at the last second. Logs, debris, and the runaway car thunder down the slope, blocking the agents chasing him. Cris narrowly avoids being crushed, calculating each move perfectly as he escapes to the bottom of the mountain. Callie is already there, waiting with her gun raised.
You know you're not gonna shoot?
She sees massive logs rolling down the mountain straight toward her. She realizes that the only way to stop Cris is to sacrifice herself and provoke him into rescuing her.
You're gonna let me die?
Unable to leave her, Cris rushes forward and pulls her to safety just as the debris crashes around them, trapping them both. More agents arrive, and Callie immediately orders them to take Cris into custody.
No good deed goes unpunished, does it?
From a distance, Smith and his men watch as Cris is captured. Smith calmly makes a call and orders one of his operatives to abduct Liz and use her as bait. Moments later, the man drives up to her, points a gun, and kidnaps her. Afterward, Cris is taken to FBI headquarters where he's strapped to a chair. Special clamps are used to hold his eyelids open, preventing him from blinking or closing his eyes. Once everything is set, Callie thanks him for saving her earlier, then turns on a television. The plan is simple. Cris will watch live broadcasts and look into the future to see when and where the nuclear bomb will be detonated.
And every television station in the world will broadcast the precise details of its detonation. Push that 2 minutes as far as you can and find it.
If I do what you want, you'll keep me in this chair forever.
As he focuses, Cris is pulled into a vision of the future. In a news report set 2 hours ahead, reporters reveal that a woman has been strapped to explosives, tied to a wheelchair, and abandoned on the roof of a parking garage. To Chris's horror, the woman is Liz. He watches as bomb squad officers carefully approach her, trying to save her. Suddenly, the terrorists detonate the bomb, killing Liz instantly. Overcome with panic, Cris snaps back to the present. Callie immediately asks what he saw, but Cris refuses to tell her. Instead, he insists that he can help them better if he's taken out of the room. Callie reluctantly agrees and orders him moved to a holding cell. Cris is placed in a holding cell. He asks for a cigarette, and when the guards are briefly distracted, he attacks them, using his foresight to anticipate their every move. He incapacitates them with ease and slips out of the cell. The alarm is triggered, throwing the entire building into lockdown. Callie and several agents give chase as Cris runs through the facility. A helicopter tracks his movement from above while he heads toward the parking garage he saw in his vision. Cris makes it inside and rushes up to the roof. Callie orders her team to stay back and follows him alone, gun drawn. On the rooftop, Cris stands at a distance from the spot where he knows Liz will be killed. Callie confronts him, demanding to know why he's there. Cris finally confesses that Liz will die on that roof in 2 hours. Callie offers him a deal. She'll help him save Liz if he helps them find a bomb. He agrees, and they quickly come up with a plan. She believes the terrorists are using Cris as bait.
10 to 1, you go out in that roof, they're gonna put a bullet in your brain.
I know.
She orders a shutdown of all radio and telecommunications signals in the area. The idea is to let Cris walk into the open so the sniper reveals himself. When the shot is fired, Cris will fake being hit, exposing the shooter's location so the FBI can take him down. Cris walks into the open area of the garage. When Cris reaches the center, the sniper fires. Cris dodges the bullet at the last second but collapses, pretending he's been shot. The sniper tries to contact his superiors, but the call doesn't go through because of the shutdown. The FBI detects his location from the gunshot and eliminates him immediately. Cris stands up unharmed as Callie approaches him. He admits that in every future he's seen, Liz still ends up dead. Callie suggests a different approach, saving Liz before she's ever brought to the parking garage. Cris looks further into the future and sees the exact moment Liz will be transported. He manages to read the license plate number of the van that will carry her. He gives the number to Callie, who immediately orders it tracked. Meanwhile, Liz has already been strapped with explosives and loaded into the van, which is preparing to leave the port. At that moment, Cris briefs the FBI on how to infiltrate the port.
Alpha and Bravo will swarm the entrance.
If you could just be quiet and do exactly what I say, I'll save your life.
Sniper teams will initiate on Johnson's call. On his call. Are we clear? All elements shoot to kill any hostiles.
What about intel?
We don't need them. We have him.
Moments later, the assault begins. As the van carrying Liz attempts to leave the port and the terrorist leader, Smith, boards a helicopter to escape, the FBI storms the area using armored vehicles and helicopters. Gunfire erupts across the port, forcing Smith and his men to scatter and take cover.
Stop the van! Not yet! You'll kill her!
On Chris's instructions, Callie takes a precise shot at nearby fuel barrels.
Now!
The explosion flips the van onto its side, forcing it to crash. Liz manages to break free and escapes into a nearby warehouse, hiding among the stacks. Cris leads the capture team toward her, calling out enemy movements seconds before they happen, allowing the agents to avoid incoming attacks with ease.
They got the guy on the crane, northeast corner. Negative, on a visual.
Give me that.
Aim for the doorway, 8 inches above the guardrail.
Liz struggles to remove the bomb vest but can't. As she moves deeper into the warehouse, Smith finds her and takes her hostage. Along with his remaining men, he tries to escape using Liz as a human shield, holding the detonator and threatening to kill her. Cris and the FBI pursue them onto a massive oil tanker. As they retreat, the terrorists plant motion-sensitive explosives throughout the ship to slow the agents down. Cris detects the first explosive moments before it detonates, allowing an agent to safely disarm it. He continues spotting the others in advance, guiding the team around each trap.
There are explosives there, and there. Stay close.
One of the terrorists hides in a concealed position and prepares to ambush them. Cris foresees himself getting shot and immediately alerts the team to the sniper's exact location.
Sniper.
Where?
Behind us.
Sniper, 6 o'clock. Got a visual?
Nobody move. I'll find him. Catwalk, second level.
The sniper is taken out before he can fire. To speed things up, they decide to split up to search the ship.
We have to clear this deck by deck.
You take this one, I'll do the rest.
Cris runs dozens of future scenarios at once, mentally searching every possible path. In one of them, he finally sees Smith escaping with Liz near the engine room. Meanwhile, on the upper deck, one of the terrorists catches Callie's team off guard. She opens fire, fatally shooting Cavanaugh. Callie kills the attacker, but it's too late. Cavanaugh dies on the spot. Though shaken, Callie pushes forward. The teams regroup, and Cris leads them to Smith. Callie orders him to release Liz, but Smith keeps her in front of him as a shield, warning Cris to stay back. Cris rapidly runs through every possible future and selects the only outcome where Liz survives. He asks Callie how good her aim is.
How good are you with that gun?
Very.
Cris advances. Smith opens fire, but Cris anticipates every shot and dodges until Smith's gun clicks empty. Smith reaches for the detonator, but Callie shoots it out of his hand, then immediately fires again, killing him. Liz is rescued, and the bomb vest is removed, but Callie tells him it's far from over. The nuclear device is still missing, and it's already been activated somewhere. Cris is brought to a seismograph, meant to help detect the explosion's location. As he stares at it and looks into the future, his expression changes. He suddenly realizes the truth. Liz was only a distraction. While everyone focused on saving her, the bomb was set to detonate elsewhere.
I made a mistake. It's happening.
When?
Now!
The shockwave tears through the city, wiping everything out and killing millions. Then, time snaps back. It's revealed that everything we just saw was another future vision. Cris is still lying in bed with Liz at the motel. Realizing what must be done to prevent that future, Cris makes a choice. He calls Callie himself and tells her he'll cooperate fully and help them find the nuclear device, but only on one condition. Liz must be left out of it completely. Callie agrees and says she's on her way. Cris wakes Liz and tells her he has to leave. She asks if he'll come back. Cris promises that he will, even if it takes a week or a month, and asks her to wait for him. Liz agrees, and they share a final kiss. Moments later, Cris waits outside as Callie arrives. She asks if he's ready. Cris nods, gets into the car with her, and they drive off together.